Training's definitely a lot harder to prepare for one fight. The difference, though, is like in pro wrestling, it's not like necessarily the planning of one fight, but it's the constant planning of many fights. You know, you could go 3-4 times in 1 week. So it's not necessarily the planning of one fight, but it's basically the rigorous of performing day after day after day with little rest. So they're both different in their own way, but they're both tough. He was on a roll, and I caught him with a hook, knocked him out. That was my first fight back, but then I ran into some issues, medical and also family issues, family problems. So my last 2 fights in Pride, I was struggling just to get my training in. You know, I had 2 really good matches, one with Don Fine, one with this other kid that was a big Japanese wrestler. Both those matches I thought were pretty competitive, but I definitely mentally I wasn't where I needed to be. I was going through a lot of issues then, physically and mentally. So then I had to leave Pride because I couldn't continue to keep leaving the United States because I was, you know, trying to watch my kids and, you know, maintain some parental control. And, so I had to leave I had to leave Pride. But at that time I was able to sign with the UFC and get some matches in with them. But even then I wasn't really physically and mentally prepared to do those fights either. But because I'm still strong-minded, I always believed I could find a way to win no matter what. And of course I had a pretty bad streak there for a while. But now I'm in a position now where I can erase all that with these next couple fights. My only focus now is to erase the bad decisions that I made, to continue to keep fighting even through injuries. These next couple fights are going to be fun for me, entertaining, and also going to erase a lot of bad memories. I wanted the fight to happen before. I remember after, you know, the fight didn't happen. We put Seth Petrozelli in there, thinking that, okay, it'll be a decent fight, you know, but you know, Kimbo will still win, but it'll be a good fight, so that I could rematch him. Seth knocks him out. So even after that, we approached him a couple months after that. My team approached their team and said, hey, let's make the fight happen. Because of the talk that was going on with him and some of the things that they were saying. And so I was pretty angry, and I said, hey, let's make the fight happen. And they didn't want any part of it. You know, so it never happened. Well, I heard that he was fighting for Bellator. So I told my business partner, Des Woodruff, I go, call him and tell him I want that fight. Just to throw a dart in the wall. Just you know, hey, worth a shot. And so Scott called back and said, are you serious? I says, has a heart attack. And so Scott put the fight together. They didn't have a choice. They'd already signed. Scott said, well, we'll make that fight happen. So all in. So as soon as I knew they could do that, I jumped in. It was like I was already supposed to fight James Quinn. You know, that's the fight I had set. When that fight came up, I said everything else has got to go on hold because I want that fight. I want to get revenge on him for the things that he said and the disrespect that he showed towards me during the time that my father was in the hospital and he passed away eventually. But the things that they said and the disrespect they showed towards me during that time will be taken out on him in the ring that night.